Hi there, how are you? My name is Brian Sambell, and we're going to do a few segments around concerning the businesses of Gawler and the many characters in this town of Gawler. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been involved in Gawler all my life, and with many different aspects. Went to the Gawler schools, the primary and the high school, and then in my first term as business, my wife and I bought the BP service station, or in those days it was the Amico service station down the bottom of Murray Street. Since then, we've had 3 other businesses, all been very successful. I was advised many years ago to build a business up to be successful and then get rid of it and start on a new venture. I certainly adhered to that, and we've been successful through our life in that way. And the community of Gawler itself, I was involved with many of the organisations because my heart was in Gawler about helping promote the town in South Australia that certainly I believe was going to go from strength to strength. The Chamber of Commerce, the Gawler Show Society, the Gawler Apex Club. We started up many ventures like the Mountain Bike Club of Gawler, the Gawler BMX, and also through that time I was racing motocross and also motor cars in Speedway. So I've had a pretty exciting life, and then I decided that I'd start up a tour company, which we did, South Australian Outback Tours, and we were very proud to be able to win the State Tourism Award with that business, going all over South Australia and into the Birdsville and Queensland areas. And then I decided to maybe retire a little, and got quite bored because I always liked being involved with things, and I was approached by a leading person in the town, Dr. Bruce Eastick, to run for council, to run for mayor, which I did. You know, the photos on the poles and all the rest of it, and I became mayor. And that was certainly a proud moment for me, and for 8 years, I decided that if I was elected as mayor, I'd do 2 terms and then fade away in the sunset. So I did 2 terms and enjoyed every bit of it with fellow councillors, and then had 12 months off. Now, 12 months ago, after a break of 5 years, I decided to go back onto council, which I am now. So at this particular point in time, I'm an elected member of the town of Gawler, and certainly proudly represent businesses and want to work with businesses to make Gawler bigger and better, and certainly viable, that all businesses can survive and employ our young people. Now today, I have with me here Mr. Mark Forgie on my right, and on the left, Mr. Gary Iremonger. Both entirely different types of businesses, but also supportive of our community. Mark worked with his father, Taylor Forgie, for many, many years in the undertaking business in our town here. And then he and his wife, Gabriel, decided to take on the business, and has certainly worked it up to one of the best funeral directories in our state. And we're so very, very proud of that. And maybe first I'll go to you, Mark, to welcome you to this chat today. And maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your business, and also now with sadly the epidemic we've got that we didn't want, and so forth, as regards to how you feel as the undertaker in our town, that we are actually being able to handle what is there.
Well, I'd just like to go back one. I think COVID's a very good example of helping your local businesses. And we've been forced into shopping locally and doing things very locally. And that really paraphrases how the town, people should run in the town, trading locally, and we do. So if we can get it in Gawler, we get it in Gawler, and that's really how we should do it. As far as the current business, we've had Our biggest difficulty was to maintain our staff levels, because there was always a chance early on of somebody getting infected, which meant that the whole team, and we have about 23 people, would be all going home for a fortnight off, leaving the doors shut, and no business providing an essential service can afford to do that. No. So we have split the team in 50-50 and put 4 other team members at separate locations. So we've got, if we do have a problem, we at least have some resource, yep. not ideal, but some resource to continue on.
Yep.
So does that answer your question, Brian?
Yes, that's very good. And I think also one of the big things, because of what we're going through at the moment, is the passion that you and your staff and Claire offer to people that sadly have lost their loved ones. As most people say, it's a celebration of life, but not being able to attend the funerals, and with your 2 chapels that you have, I've been sadly to many of the funerals, and there are not too many vacant seats in these, but that's all changed at the present moment, and I think you've explained it very clearly with the 23 staff you have. It's been a very sensible thing to be able to have a half and half, and also supportive to those people that they're not a total loss of income to you. Mark, also in the community, as I recall being here, is you've been certainly very passionate about supporting local businesses, as you said before, but also to the point whenever there's any events or sporting events that are on, you and the family and the business are always involved in supporting whichever way they can. And certainly your wife, Gabriel, by way of her caring discussions to many people that may have, problems with the way things are, and need somebody to have a chat to personally. I think that's something that Gawler can be very proud of, what you offer in our town.
No, well, thank you. She likes doing it. She feels like it's a very worthwhile thing. We've always included that as part of our service.
Yep.
And that's just a small thing. We look at the whole funeral as a holistic approach. It's just not a funeral. It's all about the people.
Yep.
And we're sort of people, and that's why we've got our motto, helping people through difficult times. And we're not about, you can say you're the most caring or the most sharing or the most wonderful, but what we really do is help people through difficult times, and that's the essence of our business.
Yep. Yep.
And Giselle is part of that help situation.
Very good. Thanks very much. And now, Gary, over to you. Gary, you and Leonie have offer bed and breakfast in our community, and without a doubt, starting off from a couple of second-hand houses to ones that you've not only built yourself, but also restored. This beautiful room we're in here today, which is Eagle Foundry, that were certainly the pioneers that set up wrought iron and that in and around our community, and by having functions and that like we are here today with Shane and Alex, that we're able to feel like we're really back in 100 years ago, but 100 years ago it'd be clanging and going on with all the old steam engines here. And certainly the other day I heard, Gary, where you mentioned about the point that with this virus that Mark was referring to, that you've also been offering your cottages with support for people that need respite or may well want to come out into the area here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Brian, sure. Well, SA Health and the government were looking for accommodation providers to provide accommodation for people who needed to isolate for 14 days. And those people could be coming in from interstate or overseas, or perhaps people that had caught COVID-19, or perhaps people who had been associated with them, or even health workers that perhaps needed respite. And so a tender went out to the accommodation industry, and we put an application in, and we were successful. So we will be classified as one of the accommodation providers should it be necessary for people to isolate for 14 days. So, but the good thing about South Australia is we're probably leading the nation in as far as the COVID-19 thing, and a lot of the people that did come in on the international flights went straight to the major hotels in Adelaide. But still, we are classified as by SA Health as an accommodation provider here in Gawler that would be able to take people should they require respite.
Oh, that's so good. It really is, and I'm glad that the governor has recognised that the facilities are here. And what I'm noticing, I mean, the Gawler doesn't have an actual motel, but Gawler's got so much character in the old buildings and that, and certainly we have our caravan park, which are very well set up with cabins, but also people just love to come and stay in the villages that have been done up and restored in a beautiful way to have a comfortable few nights when they come on up to see the town and to visit the main street and all the shopping centre that Gawler has to offer. It was a very interesting point here a while ago. I was talking to some people that were they were unable to go and do much travelling because of the virus, and I suggested to them, and it was only today on the way here that I actually got a text, and they were from up the other side of Mount Pleasant, and they wanted to go to Mildura for a holiday. And I suggested, why not have a holiday in Gawler at the beautiful B&Bs? She texted me today and said she had for 2 nights, and they couldn't believe it. They only went from Mount Pleasant to Gawler, but they had the most beautiful time for a long time. So I'll pass that on to you. It just goes to show that if we holiday in our own state, most people don't know what's around the corner, and it's what it's all about. Have you had much experience with local people coming and spending a night with you?
Funny you should mention that, Brian. We've had the Jazz Festival here for many years, and it's funny, we had some people from Gawler East, believe it or not. They came to the Jazz Festival for one afternoon, and they said, we didn't even know that this place was here, and they live up in Gawler East. Yep. And they actually booked for 2 nights, and they only live just up the road, but they thought, well, it's just a chance to get away, and they could zoom back and feed their dog in the evening and then come back here at night. Yep. And they just said, you don't have to go far to actually get away. And it's just a change of scenery. You can go out the back there, you wouldn't even know where you were. You could be anywhere. So as long as you've got great accommodation and, the feeling of the place is nice, and we look after people when they're here. So we do make sure that they have a good time and, cater for all their needs.
I think also for you and Leonie with the business here, so it's so central to the town. I mean, if you want the swimming pool, it's just down the road here. If you want to go to the pub, there's so many beautiful pubs in our town that, basically cater for everybody. I mean, I went here a little while ago to the Exchange Hotel. The music was so loud. I'm a country music freak, so they didn't even know how to play country music. So I was a bit annoyed about that, but everybody has a different taste of what they want to enjoy in life. And it was quite interesting when I was talking to some people one day that actually did that, but they were from interstate, and they said, but we just love going to the Goodwill stores and the op shops. I always remember when I was mayor, there was talk of cheap chips and the reject shop coming to town, and everybody was against it. Now you're lucky if you can get in the door. So sometimes we may put expectations on what people really do want to buy and what they want to see. So just thanks very much on behalf of Gawler for what you offer for the people that are coming, and business has been good. Although, have you noticed a real slowdown now? I mean, because of this? Yeah,
well, certainly since the virus has taken hold, the actual accommodation here at the B&B has dropped off significantly to virtually zero. Yeah. And you can understand that people aren't moving around as they previously were. No. Obviously, the functions that people were coming to have been cancelled. The Barossa Valley has been shut down. Yep. So there's lots of people staying home
Yep.
at the moment, and our business here at the Eagle Foundry has reflected that.
Yep.
But we do have our residential rental properties, which we look after in Gawler as well.
Yep.
So we still can cater for people who are looking for rental properties as well. But there is, even though there isn't a motel in Gawler, there is a lot of bed and breakfasts and supportive type of accommodation in that respect.
Yep.
So, if you are looking to come to Gawler, there will be plenty of accommodation. And as a business owner and part of the Gawler Business Development Group Board, if you can't find accommodation, give me a call. I'll be happy to, and I know all the other accommodation providers in Gawler, and we'll be happy to and try and find you some accommodation here. I'm sure we'll be able to.
I think that's why, as a person that's lived in Gawler all my life, is that I've been so proud of the businesses that we have here. As Mark has said, shop locally and enjoy shopping locally. But not only that, the passion that you have is that you're not only promoting your own business. So many times I've heard you at various involvements that I've been with, and you've been supporting and promoting all the other businesses that do the same as you. But in the long term, it all comes back that hopefully everyone will do that in the same way to be able to promote. Now, Gary and Mark, I suppose, what do you do to relax? I mean, I've been on my motorbike this morning up at my farm, chasing kangaroos around the paddock, and then came down here to the meeting. But what does Gary do to relax?
Well, we don't get too much chance to relax here because we're actually 24 hours a day here
That's
at the
right.
Eagle Foundry,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's not much chance of relaxing. The only thing that we do is we like to get away on occasions.
Yep.
So we might take a fortnight off, maybe once a year,
Yep.
and might go onto a cruise or something like that,
Yep.
just to get away. And my daughter looks after the place, and she does an excellent job too. So so that's what I do. I don't know what you do, Mark. How do you relax? Because you're in the industry.
Yep.
I get a great sense of relaxation out of making things happen for people.
Yeah.
And I think it'd probably be the same for
Exactly,
you. And I find if I'm sitting around watching television sort of relaxing, I get very bored and very
Agitated.
agitated. Yeah, I like to be achieving something. Well, I'm 73 now, and I'm getting an earful from home. Like you should be retired. You know what I mean? But what is retirement?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, there's no point. I enjoy what I'm doing. The developments I've been doing and these sort of things to make the whole business better.
Yep.
And it's better for us, and it's better for the town. It cuts both ways. Everything you
yes.
do in life's got to cut both ways.
Exactly.
Everybody's got to be a winner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to be a winner.
Yep.
If you've got winners and losers, you got a war.
Yeah.
If you've got everybody's a winner, they're all happy,
Yep.
and I think that's what I really try and take to things. And I just love coming and talking to the people at work and say, "Well, we've got a problem. This isn't working properly." I think I can find solutions.
with a solution.
I love
That's right.
I love finding solutions.
Not
Yeah.
about-
My biggest bitch at times is that people come, "This doesn't work," and I want people to come to me not with problems, come to me with solutions.
Yeah.
that's the way to
Exactly.
do it. Exactly.
And,
Yep.
or ideas,
Yeah.
rather than sort of like, doesn't work, it's all your problem.
Yeah. Just,
Because
don't just handball it.
Well, I suppose that's why some people are in charge and some people aren't in charge. You want to don't want to come too fine a point on it, but I think that it shows people's wider thoughts if they can actually come up with solutions. We've got a problem here, but however, I've thought of this, this and this to overcome it.
I think you hit it on the head when you said that you actually enjoy what you do, and that is your relaxation sometimes.
Because people thank you for the most simple things. They do, and you find it in your...
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yep.
It's all customer service. It's customer service
It
in
is.
what we do. Because sometimes people tend to try and relate what we do as putting deceased people in boxes and nailing the lid on. But it's actually not. We do things better than that. But we also is dealing with the family and making the whole experience
for sure.
worthwhile.
Yeah, which you've done so well.
And that's what you get the buzz out of.
You do.
I think it's an interesting comment that you made there when you like people to come with you with solutions. My wife has nailed me so many times, because if somebody says to me, I'm sorry, Sambo, you can't do that. That word is the best swear word I've ever heard. You can't do that. Guess what? That is the green light for me to make sure I make it happen. And I've done that all my life. Of course, the other thing, I've been involved with speedway and racing motorbikes and things like that. And I always go back a few years ago when you were driving Porsche motor cars, doing an excellent job. And I wondered whether you were going to say that still you have that feeling about maybe getting back in and driving a Porsche or a racing open-wheeler racing car or something later on, because to me, like I say, I was on the motorbike this morning. You know, like my son calls me autumn leaves now. I keep falling off, and basically, I'm sure that you would love to get back in occasionally and maybe have another drive of the Porsche like you used to.
I would, but I've actually sort of moved up a vintage step. I've got a couple of cars of my youth which I've acquired recently.
Wow.
And
that you owned before.
No.
Of the
cars of the desire of my youth.
Oh, desire of youth, yeah.
There are two of them. There's one is the original Falcon GT, the gold one, the XO GT, and the other one is a Mark 1 Lotus Cortina.
Oh wow, yeah.
With the green stripe.
Beautiful machines, yeah.
And that they were sort of the supercars of my era as a kid.
But we couldn't afford them.
We couldn't afford them.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you're almost out of time, you can actually get hold of them.
Yeah.
So
we watched Leo Gagan drive them around Bathurst and stuff like that. Yeah.
Is that a project you're going to do up, or is that are they already up?
They're all
up and going. Oh, that'd be nice to check out.
I have found that the cheapest car is often the most expensive car because it's already done up.
Yeah.
And you buy something for half the price, but it's going to cost you 3 times that to fix it up.
To do it,
And you'll have this wreck in the shed for years, causing great matrimonial aggravation.
And you weren't in the cars, Gary, at all?
Well, when I first started my career, I started as a motor mechanic.
Oh,
so I am a motor mechanic. I did diesel and went up in the north, up bush, and worked on elevating platform vehicles and all sorts of things like that. So, and then had my own business in Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory as a mechanic. And then worked for the fire brigade as a mechanic for the fire service.
You just love to hear the siren.
But eventually I thought, well, got to try and do something else. And as you get older, you do look at different things. So,
exactly.
It was so I do like cars, old cars, and know where you're coming from in those vintages.
Yeah. I proudly, my son helped me buy it. I've got a '66 Mustang, and left-hand drive, and my wife won't go with me because she keeps putting the brakes on all the time because she sits on the right-hand side. But my son Greg from the Gawler Body Works here in Gawler totally restored it, and it's just a pleasure to drive. And it's great to, initially we bought it from California. And the picture of the lady handing over the keys and that, and the Hollywood sign on the back of the mountain there. So I very proudly have that.
That'd be great.
It all came about when my son rang me one day and said, "Dad, you always wanted a Mustang, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "No worries." He said, "Just go down the bank and see if you can borrow $10,000. And I said, "What's it? It's got wheels on it or what?" And quite amazing, it came on over here in a ship container with some other vehicles and that my son was involved with an importer that brought stuff in from America, and we put the tray plates on and drove it back to Gawler, so for $10,000. But I certainly won't be selling it for $10,000 now that it's fully restored by him. So without a doubt, Gawler in South Australia is the best of town and country. And Philip Goers on ABC, whenever he announces Gawler, he says, "Oh, that's Gawler, the best of town and country." And I think that's what we can proudly hang our hat on. And to you, Mark, and to Gary, thanks so much for having a chat with us today. And we'll look forward to be able to coming out of this virus and moving forward the best way we possibly can.